New sports and new friends, up next on SportsBar. All right, we got a lot to talk about today, so we're just going to get right down to it. We do have a guest with us today, replacing Chris, Adrian Hernandez. Say hi, Adrian.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, cool. All right, so I guess let's just start things off with the big news that's going around, which is the NBA and Steph Curry, or I guess in order it would be Steph Curry and the NBA.
Yes, for sure.
He's insane lately. This season, last season, he was all right, I guess. But no, after seeing him get that 38-foot shot against the Thunder, most people would, like, when D. Wade used to make stuff like that, it used to be like, all right, cool, lucky shot, you know, you make those once every blue moon. This was just, well, there goes Steph doing Steph again. I mean, he's shooting like crazy. What do y'all have to say about Steph's career?
I mean, it's definitely weird because it's become expected of him. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, is that about to go in? It's like, oh, he's going to shoot it and it's going to go in and we're going to win the game. That's
he doesn't
great.
even look anymore.
Like, yeah, like no one is even as excited as like if someone else had made that shot, pretty much anyone else in the league had made that shot, it would have been, you know, shockwaves through the entire room, the NBA in general. He makes it, it's like, oh man, he made another three-pointer. That's nice for him. Like, it's weird to the point that people don't react how you would expect them to at this point, because it's like, oh, he's doing what, you know, he's expected to do all the time.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Like, well, I guess it was just one game before the OKC game that he hit the game winner against the Heat.
Yep.
So, I mean, you know, he's doing this. He's having these kind of performances, you know, all the time so far this year. I mean, I don't know about how you guys feel about Steph Curry. I feel like he is the runaway candidate for league MVP again.
Yeah.
I think that was like 2 months ago. Maybe.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't know who you could even argue has a chance to step in.
You know, I'm not really sure, like, if he will get it, just because, you know, sometimes, you know, when you talk about league MVP, they look at, you know, most valuable to their team. Oftentimes, you know, that kind of award goes to even sometimes kind of a so-so squad that just has a superstar, because, like, obviously, like, without him, they would be nothing. The Warriors would obviously still be a good squad without Steph. They would not be
they wouldn't be what they are.
The all-time good kind of squad without Steph. But, you know, they would still have Clay. I mean, Mr. You know, triple-double in Draymond Green. So they would still have some of those other.
Don't forget Andre Iguodala.
And Iguodala. I mean, he was you know, Finals MVP. I mean, so you can't overlook that guy. But I don't know how that you don't give the league MVP to Steph right now.
Well, I mean, not only that, but like he has already broken his record that he made last year for most threes in a season. He's already broken it. The season's not done, and he's put up back-to-back games with 10-plus three-pointers. Like, it's only going to increase from here.
Well, I mean, you know, last season it was certainly more the Splash Brothers. Yeah. You know, Clay and himself. And even though Clay has had some terrific games this year, certainly, I mean, Steph has taken his game to that next level, and the team still loves to spread the ball around. But when it's winning time, they're not looking to Harrison Barnes in the corner anymore occasionally, or Klay Thompson having his, you know, breakout kind of game. It's Steph's team. You know,
it's Steph from half court.
Yeah, it's Steph from half court, or we're losing this ball game.
But like, it still seems to shock people when it happens. Like the defense still looks like they're not prepared, even though it's now happening consistently.
It's hard to defend. I mean, he made 12 three-pointers that day.
Yeah, out of 16 he shot.
Yeah, and he's tied up with Kobe for the most in a game. It's just. It's ridiculous to see. He's just cementing his legacy as one of the greatest shooters ever.
Well, when you cross half court, you're still backpedaling, especially from 38 feet away. As a defender, I mean, even though you're playing Steph, you know, growing up, like, you never had to guard anyone from that far away.
Yeah, you're not running up to half court.
You're playing Steph Curry. I mean, you're still not necessarily ready for him to pull up from there.
But when the clock is winding down, you need to be on. You need to be defending your person from wherever they are. They're like, that's a full court press kind of situation, and they let Steph Curry I mean, I guess we can call it open at this point. They let him get open and just drain that shot.
But it's ridiculous though. That's open. Like that's open. 38 feet away should not be open. It's just, and he's just making these new boundaries.
Well, he's like 70% from that range.
You're right. 35 from what?
Which is better than most
like
people's.
50-something.
35 from 50.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
like 52.
It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's nuts.
That's better than most
People shoot from
3-point
two.
percentage, or just field goal in general.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, that's what we were saying before the show that we're talking about 2K and the fact that he's literally broken the
broke the
game.
game,
He's
yeah.
broken the algorithms they put together because he's so good.
Yeah, well-
and he's so much better than what they were prepared for.
Yeah, I mean, well, there was a period there, a short period, albeit, but there was a period there where Steph had a higher 3-point percentage than he did layup percentage. Like not just twos, but like
Just like a straight
there was like a
layup.
4-game stretch where he shot better from 3 than he shot with layups.
Yeah.
He's insane.
Well, also, I think the media is just loving Steph so much that they're making ridiculous stats for him. Like one of the ones I think I read was he's the first player to have a 50-plus point game with 1 or fewer free throws, which also just shows that he doesn't drive in that much. Like he doesn't get those layups
he
or anything
stays on the
anymore.
outside.
Like don't get me wrong, he can. We've seen it happen. He can cross people up and get in there, but he doesn't need to. He can shoot from anywhere on the court.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it
he
doesn't
knows
matter.
he's not the biggest guy out there. He knows that he's not, he's not going up for every layup because he's going to be that power guy who's going to kind of fight through it. He knows where his strengths are, and that's not where they are.
There's no
That's
reason
not.
to push it.
There's no reason for him to get hurt, for him to try to be drawing the fouls and stuff when he knows that he's good at 3-pointers. He knows where he can shoot them from.
Which he did get that ankle injury against OKC too, but came back, didn't really matter, so it must not have been that bad.
Just a
sprained
tweaked
little.
or something. Nothing crazy.
Now, we can come back to this if we want, but we should move on a little bit. Another person that is doing big things still is a big man. Tim Duncan got his 3,000th block the other day. I've gotten maybe 2 in just pickup games. I can't even imagine 3,000. That's crazy. I mean, obviously he's been playing a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, what a comparison, Robin.
He might be a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit bigger than me.
You're
but
close, buddy. It's okay.
just a guy can dream, all right? Yeah. But no, I don't know. It amazes me seeing all these numbers like 3,000 this or like 2,000, all these hundreds of threes that are going out there. Like all of these stats, a lot of people brush it off as just like, well, they've been playing for a long time. But do you know how hard it is? Because sure, he's an all-star, he's a great player, but he's playing against all-stars and like blocking against them too. I don't know. It amazes me.
He's old.
And he's pretty old. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for Tim Duncan, he is just the ultimate savvy kind of player.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly in the last 5 years, a lot of his blocks. I mean, I'm not taking away from Tim because he's a terrific player.
Yeah.
Always, he is. He's the big fundamental. But he knows hand placement when defending. He doesn't have to jump out of the gym to block you at the rim. He's going to place his hand right here, right before you pull through. That's going to count as a block. Sometimes it'll count as a steal. But he's just that savvy of a player. And like you said, I mean, he's been doing it so long, he is kind of getting up there. I'm not sure how much longer he'll play.
How much longer he'll run.
Yeah, or just how much longer he'll be able to run. And not to pull us back into Steph, but I think there's a comparison there because they're both, savvy players. Tim Duncan has really known how to take care of his body very well, and that's allowed him to play, into almost 40 years old.
Yeah.
I think Steph will be very similar. I mean, where we were talking about how he generally is not going to drive the lane, he's probably not going to be that hard on his body. As long as he still has his legs, to shoot jumpers, I feel like they can have similar careers as far as length of career.
Now there is a big difference between them though when it comes to their whole Mr. Big fundamental. Steph for a while was that team player, was Tim Duncan, all the fundamentals, let's pass the ball off. But he's become more of that LeBron, if I have the ball, I'm probably going to throw it up, like LeBron, Kobe, all that stuff. He's sort of taken over that.
I don't.
Compare him to LeBron like that, or what?
Just overall, I don't know. I feel like he has so much more to work with. I think that he's not doing it just to kind of be like, oh, I'm going to throw it up there. I think that he makes the shots when he knows they need to be made and he knows he's going to make them, but I don't think he's throwing it up there. It's just kind of like, I have the ball. Let's add another 3 to my, repertoire of threes. Like, I think he does it in a more, I guess, intelligent way than what I would say LeBron does. I think that there's kind of a star power type thing where I think Curry does it more as, he knows what he's going to be able to do. I think that LeBron gets into kind of I'm LeBron James and I'm going to chuck the ball up there because,
I think
here
that might
I
be more
am.
of a Kobe attitude.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a confidence. I think it's really a confidence with Steph Curry. He's automatic. He knows his spots. He knows where he's going to tray up from all the time, and his confidence is what kills people. He's a baby-faced kid, and he just kind of killing them just with shots like that, and just it kills legends like I think it kills legends like Tim Duncan and Kobe like that, because we haven't seen that. Like before that, I think it was dunks for us. It was dunks for us growing up, but now it's definitely turning into a 3-point league, and everybody just loves chucking threes. Even during that OKC game, Kevin Durant was hawking up threes, and so was Russell, and Russell Westbrook was going great. And I think people should feel a little bit more bad for OKC because they out-rebounded and just were so much stronger.
I mean, when you have a bigger team like that, a much bigger team,
huge
you should
team.
out-rebound.
But they still can't find an answer to beat Golden State, and that's what everybody in the NBA is trying to do right now. And I think
it's almost like people have realized that 3-pointers are worth more points than a regular 2-point shot, and that's better.
Yeah. But I mean, we were just kind of thrown off on LeBron James. I would like to say, I mean, I feel like, for me at least, there's still no one else in the league that takes over a game like LeBron can. Curry.
Not in the fourth.
Yeah.
LeBron,
hey.
out of his last.
We're going to talk about fourth quarter Miami.
I'm just saying that LeBron James can defend, and he can play a style of offense that just really sucks the life out of the other opponent. I mean, Curry, like if they're trading threes, I fully expect him to win that battle, or just scoring generally, back and forth. But you still, feel like OKC could come down if they, manage their time right, maybe drill a 3, whatever, win that ball game. Whereas, for me at least, when I'm watching LeBron play up by 2 when they have the ball, a minute left, that game's over. Just because I feel like he's going to know how to manage that game.
Well, yeah, and like you were saying, manage the time. OKC could have easily won that if Durant had called a timeout and not just thrown away the ball.
You're definitely right. I remember that. And that's how it went into overtime that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like all you need to do was call that timeout. So it's a mental thing. I think part of him wanted to just show up Steph Curry no, let's do this. But you need to be smarter than that.
It was kind of an arrogance thing a little bit.
Exactly.
It was more about, let's prove them wrong.
It's like, you're double teaming me?
Yeah.
But transitioning from superstars to superstars, Adrian, I know he wanted to share a little about the Champions League. And me and him were talking, before the show about particularly the Arsenal-Barcelona game.
Barcelona-Arsenal game was just a beautiful thing to watch. It was definitely Messi at his best and just Barcelona at its best. And they're just showing how they're just one of the greatest teams in the world. Really the only competition they have right now in the Champions League, looking forward and looking on, Bayern Munich from Germany, another team that is just a worldwide phenomenon in soccer. And I can't wait. I love Champions League. Champions League is one of my favorite
Do you know when they're going to be playing Bayern?
Not Bayern and Barca. That would probably be a few more weeks until they decide.
Yeah.
They're still in the round of 16 for Champions League, but I'm going to be tentatively watching because I love that. And then it's going to get into March Madness, and just a great 2 months. Great 2 months of sports, I guess. So I don't want to watch baseball. So.
Well, in regards to Barca, I mean, that final score against Arsenal was 2-0. I feel like that could have easily been 5-0.
For sure.
If certain, we were talking about Neymar just finishing his run to the back post on the one cross by Suarez, that could have been a tap in.
Mm-hmm.
Much like Steph Curry in the NBA.
Oh,
yes.
we're doing this.
We're going to compare to every sport.
It's just like an offensive juggernaut. You just don't know how to stop them. I mean, Suarez, Neymar, Messi.
BBC.
Yeah, when those three guys are coming at you downfield, like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, you can take away one of them, or try to,
but the other one will just
attempt.
The other two, or one of them can single-handedly, win that game.
I'm pretty sure European announcers like to compare them to, at least whenever I'm listening to a Spanish commentary, they like to call them the Hydra, like just so many heads on a beast. Yeah. And just trying to cut off one head, and then you'll see Neymar, a Brazilian head, and then an Uruguayan head, and then they just have Suarez, and then they just
it's quite terrifying.
It is terrifying. It's terrifying.
Good metaphor.
It's too much. It's too much to handle.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. Also, one other soccer note: it's looking like Tim Howard is going to get transferred to MLS.
Oh, he's moving from Everton.
He's from Everton to the Colorado Rapids.
Oh,
I have mixed feelings here. I feel like Howard is still a good enough player to where he could have played.
He shouldn't be walking around the graveyard of the MLS.
Exactly. But hey, that being said, I'm a fan of the MLS because I want to grow. I want to grow the domestic league. I want the domestic league to reach its highest potential, and I feel like to some degree, I mean.
It's growing.
Yeah, it's growing, and even though if we are getting the dinosaur superstars, at least they are around.
They're bringing tickets in to bring more of a better audience.
And we definitely need more Javinkos, more Dos Santos kind of guys. But still, I think this is an okay signing, and I'm pretty sure Howard. He's either 35 or 36. I mean, he's not just a relic of himself. He isn't certainly top flight anymore.
No.
But I feel like he could give you a couple strong years.
Is he still like a World Cup keeper to you?
No.
Oh, that's sad.
I mean, I don't think he is.
Tim Howard.
Certainly. I mean, I would like to say that our squad was good enough to where you could still afford to have a Tim Howard at goal in the coming World Cup and be okay. But I mean, God knows, really from 1 to 11. I mean, we need as much help as we can get.
Yes, every year.
Every year. I mean, so I don't think he's World Cup.
But you have to respect the legends, and he's definitely an American legend, and Americans who've been cheering since last World Cup. They did great last World Cup. I think they should appreciate Tim Howard for the great goalkeeper and probably American legend.
Not only that, but I think Nick Raimondo doesn't get enough,
yes,
I guess praise either.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never been the guy. Or the guy at keeper. He has been for stretches. I think Guzman as well. I mean, he's been very good and had a great career at Aston Villa for the majority of his career. As far as American goalkeepers go, I would think that as an export, to other leagues has been our biggest contribution to the soccer world.
You're definitely right.
I mean, I don't really count Donovan's,
I mean, you can. Donovan's up there.
Well, I mean, Donovan's up there.
He was there for a little bit, though. Just went back to Galaxy,
Yeah. But lots of good soccer news, coming up, like with the Champions League. The World Cup qualifying is right around the corner.
Beautiful time for a beautiful game.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on from football to football. I wanted to do that. Okay. I've been thinking about doing that this entire conversation. But
okay.
So we're moving on to football now. So there's been free agent signings a little bit. There's a lot more still out there, and there's the NFL Combine happening. Let's just start with the Combine. Honestly, I want to ask you guys how you feel about the Combine, because a lot of times it's, teams will pick people based off of their college career and stuff. But now, do you think it's leaning more toward what people are doing in the Combine? Like, what's their 40 time, what's this, that, the other, instead of, how they performed in college? Sort of like, I guess you could look at Michael Sam, who was defender of the year, defensive player of the year, still didn't make it into the league. I mean, I don't know if that was all Combine, but I mean, he did did not do as well. So, I mean, I just want to know your opinions on, do you think that the Combine's a good idea? Do you think it's hindering people's careers?
It's not, I don't think it's hindering people's careers. Honestly, I think it's a really good chance for these kids who've been playing in college to kind of show what they've been doing in their, quote-unquote off season. I know it's not like a huge period of time, but that is enough time for them to work on their 40 or to work on how much they can lift or, different things that they don't necessarily get a chance to really focus on while the season is in progress, especially their senior season. I mean, as a senior, I get that the year is busy enough already. They don't have time to go out and let's just run 40s for 3 hours every day, that kind of a thing. Okay, Travis, let's go watch it.
If it's for a multi-million-dollar contract, I will run 40s all my life.
That is true. Yeah. But I definitely think that the Combine gives an interesting look at players, but you're never going to lose out on the fact that you need to know how they're going to play under pressure, with a defense breathing down their throat, with an offense breathing down their throat, whatever they do as a player. I mean, you need to see what they're going to be able to do on the field in that pressure to see how their decisions are going to be made, because the Combine's great for, he's got fast hands, or he's super quick or whatever, but you're not going to be able to see that decision-making skill and process that you're going to be able to see more organically during a game. So it's important, but I don't think it's the end-all be-all of, the draft.
I mean, I feel like the Combine is more important to guys who just had really bad tape. I mean, if you looked bad this past season, but you were one of those guys.
Or weren't on a good team.
Or weren't on a good team, but you're one of those guys who they deem like, man, this guy's got crazy potential. Yeah. Then you can use the Combine to show out, show that you're good enough.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's more for kids from smaller schools. I like the Combine for farming maybe like talent from really small schools.
Sort of like where Josh Norman came out of.
Coastal Carolina. I'd like to see hear from South Carolina State or Coastal Carolina, and even App. Shout out to Ronald Blair for actually making the Combine too.
Yeah.
It's a real honor to do that, and NFL teams actually want to gauge your everything.
Yeah, it definitely gives a chance to these kids who aren't coming out of Georgia and Clemson and
Ohio
Bama,
State.
and it's giving chance to the little people.
A lot this year.
Always, their talent just comes out, and Joey Bosa.
You could move Ohio State just to maybe the Rams. Maybe they could just become Ohio State Part 2. Just now in California.
But you mentioned Ronald Blair. I mean, certainly it's a terrific opportunity for both the university and Blair and the conference. He was the only player that this whole conference sent to the NFL Combine, which is ridiculous. And he mentioned South Carolina State, and we were talking about it before the show. South Carolina State, a small FCS school, sent 2 guys to the NFL Combine. Now, that's kind of that's a great year for them, obviously.
Say where South Carolina State is.
It doesn't say too many good things about the strength of the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Yeah,
and I feel like this is a down year for the Sun, or this past year has been a down year for the Sun Belt.
They didn't put out a lot of players.
I think next year will be a standout season for the Sun Belt, sending guys to the Combine. But Blair showed out. He did pretty well. He had the second slowest, 40 time for linemen, but he was also the second strongest. For
he's
bench
not
press.
known for his speed necessarily.
Well, I mean, I feel like he's more quick than fast. And as long as you're strong and quick off the line, I feel like that will bode well for him.
And he was a beast for us. So we got it.
No, it'd be great to see that he kind of get off his feet and actually do something in the NFL, because I know that we kind of hang on to our few app grads that are playing right now, and it would be really nice to see someone, not few as in comparison, I guess.
I like seeing Sam Martin punt.
I mean, think how much we talk about Sam Martin as a punter for the Lions.
Hey man,
if we could get something else in there, that would be great.
I watch Jags games just so I can watch Demetrius McCray make 2 tackles. I mean, so watching guys like that.
That's the only reason to watch Jags games. So.
Yeah, but, it's worth it. And it certainly helps with recruiting. I mean, at least that even if you are playing in a league that isn't as good. If your university is the standout university in that conference, you're still going to be okay.
Yeah, you got to work your way up somehow, and that's a really good way to do it.
So let's go ahead and move on to free agents just for a little bit. We're going to have to wrap up soon. Top 2 free agents are Von Miller, MVP, Super Bowl, whatever, I guess.
Whatever,
and then Josh Norman. Pretty sure they're both going to get taken back by their teams.
I don't see them going anywhere.
So aside from them, we're looking at people like Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Forte, Kaepernick's out there. There's some pretty big names. Do you see anyone, like any good home for some of these people, or should they just go back to their teams?
I think the best home for most of them, off the top of my head, is kind of where they are. I mean, I don't see any phenomenal leaps happening from, they're going to end up here or there or wherever. I think that for the most part, we're going to see pretty much all of them kind of wander back slowly to where they're starting.
The only one that I'm just really adamant about that he should go somewhere else is Alshon Jeffrey.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Leave Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Right now,
But will he leave Jay Cutler?
It's a bad relationship.
Should he or will he? Those are different things.
It's similar to like a daytime drama, I mean, it's just they're obviously not good for each other, but they love each other so much they just can't leave each other.
You could write such a good story.
But I feel like he needs to go somewhere where he's got a decent quarterback. I can even see like him being a good fit for maybe San Diego, even though Phillip Rivers still isn't Well, he's not the Phillip Rivers of 5 years ago, but he's still better than Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
And he'll catch you some balls. So I feel like maybe that would be a good fit for him.
I still don't see him leaving. I agree that I think he should leave, and I think he could give himself a lot of really great opportunities somewhere else. But like you said, I think that they're too connected. I don't see him leaving Jay Cutler at all.
They're pretty
tight.
tight.
Who we were talking about before, we were talking about Doug Martin before the break.
Yeah.
And that's a solid back. I remember his rookie year, he just killed it for Tampa Bay. But he has a new situation with probably a new coach, and he's got famous Jameis on his team.
Yeah.
So he has to decide whether he wants a new future with probably a solid team or Tampa Bay. I mean, I wouldn't want to call Tampa Bay my home, but I think they have a good situation going for them, and I think he should stay.
All right. Well, that's gonna have to be it for this episode. We'll keep you all updated with all the different free agent signings, this, that, the other. We would like to congratulate women's track and field here at App for winning our schools and their first Sun Belt Conference title. So, good job. Good job. Aside from that, we are holding auditions to be a panel on this show. Come out to Portofino's on March 15th. You'll see most of us there, maybe all of us.
You get to meet us in person.
Yeah.
We're pretty great.
We'll sign autographs if you want. But yeah, so come on out to that. Go to www.watchapptv.com for more information on that. And until next time, I'm Robin Palmer.